Hi, everybody. I'm Audrey Moore with Audrey Helps Actors Podcast, and this is episode number 85, Finding Your Hive for Self-Tape May 2022. Woo-woo! All right, you guys. Self-Tape May has begun. We have new info this year, so don't skip ahead. Do not skip ahead. This episode, we have the incredible Rosie Rodriguez, who is the Self-Tape May Challenge 2021 winner. It's such a wonderful, beautiful, inspiring, honest, real, emotional, funny interview, just like Rosie herself. It is indicative of all that is beautiful and wonderful of her. This week we discuss how to think out of the box and have fun with Self-Tape May because it is a marathon. So sometimes you might have a plan and you're like, screw this plan. I'm gonna do a scene from The Muppets. Why not? Practical tips for how to make Self-Tape May easier, how accountability and friendly competition can help. That's why we have the leaderboard. Sign up for the leaderboard at selftapemay.com. That way you can see who is besting you. I like competition. I think it's fun. On that note, how to deal with jealousy, self-doubt, and resentment that can pop up while pursuing this career. We talk about the green-eyed monster of jealousy and how it is so painful. And last year, her participation in Self-Tape May directly led to her getting new representation, which led to her getting her first co-star booking in just 1 month, you guys, after Self-Tape May, which is like, I love it, I love it. Just think about that. What if at the end of June, your whole acting career is completely leveled up, all because you participated and completed Self-Tape May, 16 tapes in 1 month. I mean, I don't want to be like, it could change your life, but it seems like it could. It just seems like the evidence is there. Selftapemay.com. We're going to have a blast, you guys. It's going to be the best May ever! Book it! All right, you guys. Self-Tape May has begun. We have new info this year, so don't skip ahead. Do not skip ahead. All right, Self-Tape May, if you don't know what it is, it's very simple. Every year, I put out the same challenge in May. Can you record and upload 16 self-tapes this month? That's it. Upload each tape to Instagram, one at a time or all at once, whatever you want. Just use the hashtag SelfTapeMay and feel free to have full sound unless it's material that has not yet aired. If any of your tapes have not aired, mute those particular self-tapes. If you're using the material from Castability Actor, that is also material that you can go ahead and put on full sound, no need to mute. They encourage seeing and hearing your tapes. And that's it. 16 tapes, 31 days. Can you do it? The new stuff this year is you are going to wear or show a sticker in your tape, so that way I know you're not a cheater, pumpkin eater. Every year, we have a little something different. Year 1, we used a safety pin. Year 2, we did actual tape. Year 3, we did a button pin. This year, I want to see those stickers. I love it when you guys have exciting stickers. I'm just like I'm so thrilled. We also have a leaderboard. So a leaderboard, you go onto selftapemay.com, you log in, everything's free, Frizzo free. My favorite price is free. And you just can like click in every time you do a tape, you just go boop, and you just like hit the arrow up button. And it says, instead of 2 tapes, now you've done 3. And you can track everybody else and you can organize it by region. You can check out whoever it is that you're like, that person's in my casting and I'm going to best them in this Self-Tape May challenge. You know, a little competition sometimes is the motivation that you need. So have a blast with the leaderboard. We've also got a prize package, a 1-year subscription to We Audition, a 1-year subscription to Castability, and a 1-year subscription for the premium membership to Casting Networks. And you're gonna come on the podcast, just like this episode, Rosie Rodriguez. Join the movement, join the challenge, woohoo, woohoo! Selftapemay.com for more info, resources, and to sign up for that leaderboard. I would also, listen, you guys, this is so real. Somebody please do a bunch of scenes from The Witcher. I mean, I'll take one. I'll take if you just do one scene from The Witcher, but if somebody out there can do 16 tapes from The Witcher, There's going to be something for you. I don't know what yet, but it's going to be good. Guys, I love The Witcher. So please give me that Witcher life. You don't have to do The Witcher. I just want everyone to, you don't have to. You do whatever your self-tape May needs you to do. But I would love to see some Witcher tapes. That's all I'm going to say. You guys, more reviews. This baby is currently filming their own self-tapes. They are basking in the soft lighting glow of your reviews. It's very flattering. The baby looks beautiful. I mean, just ready for that campaign, that baby food campaign. Who provided these reviews, you ask? Special thanks to Skymlem. I like mlems. Christoph Poopy Pins, Cleo McGill, Tina Pasquale, Amy Beth Actor. We've made it easier for you to rate this podcast. Just go to ratethispodcast.com/Audrey. ratethispodcast.com/Audrey on your phone or wherever you're listening to this podcast on. All right, everybody, I hope you're on your way to an audition, maybe in person. I hope that you're doing a self-tape from The Witcher because it's going to bring everybody joy. I hope that you are crushing Self-Tape May. Book it!
Audrey helps actors because they don't know anything.
Hi, everybody. I'm Audrey Moore with Audrey Helps Actors, and today we have...
Rosie Rodriguez.
Yay. It was like suspense. You left us in suspense for a second.
Build up.
So we have our Self-Tape May 2021 challenge winner. Congratulations. Exciting. So Rosie had participated in Self-Tape May last year. 16 self-tapes posted to Instagram during the month of May. And in doing so, I then take all of the people who finish all 16 tapes and I randomly draw with a random number generator a winner. And I drew you, and I was so excited because I watched your tapes and I'm just so thrilled.
I couldn't believe it. I remember waking up that morning and my friend Alfred, he texted me and he was like, "Oh, you might want to listen to the podcast." My first thought was like, "Oh, did we get like a shout out or something? That's cool." And then my other friend tagged me in the post and I was like, "Oh my God, I won."
Yay! How exciting.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really awesome.
Well, you've had quite the journey since even this. So we were recording this at end of October, and even from May to now, you've really had quite the journey. So I really want to talk about that. And so tell me about the decision to participate in Self-Tape May, and tell me if you had participated before or heard about it before. Give everyone the story.
So I never participated in Self-Tape May before. I hadn't even heard of it. My friend Alfred's, Megan and Cody, we all were on a group chat.
So this is sort of your troupe, your team that together they were chatting about doing Self-Tape May.
Yeah.
And to your knowledge, had any of them done Self-Tape May in the past?
I think they have. They're amazing. Like I met them all online. Megan and Alfred's, we were on the same agency together. We just really bonded through that. And Alfred's tagged me in the post and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I think the week right before May 1st, I picked out all the materials I wanted to do.
So ahead of time, you had gotten your 16 pieces that you wanted to work on.
Yeah. I wrote them down on a Word document. And I wrote down okay, May 1st, I want to do this one, May 2nd. And I knew it was 16, so I could space them out too. Mm-hmm. If I'm ever overwhelmed or one's bigger than the other. So I can organize that. And I think that really helped me because halfway through, I was like, oh, I'm exhausted. I'm so tired, but I was like, I really should keep going. So I just kept doing it.
What you're describing is something I talk about in the podcast all the time, which is about grit, right? And so an important part about deliberate practice is grit. And deliberate practice is essential that in the beginning, something's fun. You're like, I'm going to do this thing. And so if you're learning a new language, or I saw you're a singer, if you're going to start working on a different kind of vocal range or vocal capacity, in the beginning, you're excited because you're I'm going to do this thing. And then it gets hard. And then once it gets hard, you have to have some grit to get through the hard part and then get over to the part where then it's fun, you've completed it, and it's thorough.
And you feel accomplished.
Totally. So it's already kind of hard once you get to like tape 6 through 12.
Right.
But if you already have the material and you know what you want to work on and you're working on something that's exciting to you, then it does make it even just that scooch little bit more easy. So tell everyone about that.
I definitely agree with that, because there were some days where I was like, oh, I know I got to record. But like, on the other hand, it was something I wanted to do. Like, I recorded a scene from Ratatouille because I love that movie. And that movie like is very similar in a respect to like an acting journey too. Cause like Remy's a rat and he wants to be a chef. And I feel like we all start somewhere and we all like listen to those voices that are telling us like, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then it's up to you to write your own destiny and do what you want. So like, there were those days like that where I'm like, you know what? This means a lot to me, so I'm going to do it. And then some days I was like, why did I write all this? Why did I choose this?
What I also love about this is I always tell people to like have a intention, and a perfectly good intention is simply just to do 16.
Right.
I think it's a great intention.
Yeah.
Just like get your butt in front of the camera and just get it done, because that's like anything that in showing up, you're going to do better just by showing up. You'll feel better tomorrow,
and
right?
I think having a support system too, it's kind of like accountability too. Cause I'm like, oh, Megan already got tape 6 done and Alfred's got tape 3 done. And it's like, damn it, I need to keep going.
I love that, because, you know, our business, our art form is a community art form, right? And part of what's been so challenging about COVID is we are so isolated in our own art. And that's not why we chose acting. If I want to be an artist by myself, you know, I would write in a room by myself. I would paint something by myself.
It's always collaborative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so having these people that you can sort of use as markers and pushers and that little competitive actor spirit that gets in there is really great. And so we talk about on this podcast intentionality. And so it seems like you had an intention to A, complete 16, and B, just have a good time.
Yeah. I think the intention was because I made a New Year's resolution that I was going to start doing things for myself that made me happy. And doing that made me happy because I got to control the deck of what I wanted to do.
I love that.
A great example is Cody did a scene from Treasure Planet. That's another amazing movie too.
Yes,
and then I was like, damn it, I want to do one too. So like, I just slipped it into my little roster of scenes that I wanted to do because I was racking my brain. I was like, oh my gosh, that's genius. So like we can tag each other in each one. And that's what I love about this, because everyone was just so nice. I got so many like new followers and so many people like rooting for you.
I always like to tell people, if you want to do horror movies, pick 16 horror movies.
Yeah.
If you want to do science fiction or you want to do Marvel, like what's so great about Self-Tape May is it is a free process and it's whatever you want it to be.
Right. I absolutely agree. That's what was so fun about it. Cause it's like, oh, I don't have to play to my type, because I got to play the roles that I want to play.
What I love so much about that too, is it's giving yourself the kind of practice of the career that you want to have. Like I always say to people, well, how many auditions do you want a week? Like, what would be your ideal amount of auditions? And they're like, I want 5 auditions a week. And I'm like, great. Well, are you practicing 5 auditions a week? And they're like, no.
Very true. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't know training wise why you think you are ready. And this was my own experience of like, and I continually have this experience where I start to get a new level of auditions, a new caliber of lines and things to learn and things to memorize and shit happening in my life at the time and that I need to turn in that audition and it's all kind of chaos. And so if you wait until it's convenient for you to be operating the way that you want to operate, it's my experience that then I'm not ready in the way that I need to be ready. And then it's a wake up call after the fact of like, oh, darn it. You know, I need to have more coaches, or I need to have more people to read with, or I need to watch these shows, or I need to be ahead on these scripts. So that way, when it comes, I'm not having to spend time scrambling and then putting out work maybe I'm a little not as proud of, and then feel bad about myself. And then I feel bad about my art, and I feel bad. I just feel bad. Right.
That was definitely me. Like when I graduated college, where it's just, I was just mad at everything. And I feel like Self-Tape May kind of triggered like a snowball effect of momentum. And like what we were talking about a couple weeks ago, like momentum, it also goes up and it also goes down, and it's okay when it goes down. Like I had a car accident a couple months ago, and I was on a really good momentum. I had like a meeting with a new agent, and then I won Self-Tape May, and I was preparing to meet with you on that. And I had all this stuff planned. Then everything stopped and halted. And then I had a choice in that moment. It was like, you can either lay on your butt and like not do anything, which is fine. Rest is needed. Obviously rest is needed. Or you can keep yourself occupied and try to get back on your momentum and get back on your butt.
And so what are some of the things that you do? Because I have some systems for me, and I'd love to hear your systems. I have like a list of things that I can do for my career. Some of them are really active and some of them are really passive, because sometimes I am tired and I need to rest.
Yeah.
But I need to put some time in to research and stay on top of the career because it is so competitive.
Right.
And so if it's passive, there's absolutely nothing wrong with just lying there and scrolling through Deadline. If it's passive, there's absolutely nothing wrong with watching some shows. And honestly, for me, it doesn't even have to be something that I'm like, I could be on that show. It could be a hit show that I know everyone is talking about. And it's just good for me to watch a hit show, even if it's filming in England and they're just probably not going to cast me because it's over in the UK.
Right.
But if it's something that's like part of the conversation, I know they're going to make carbon copies of that content. I know it's important for me to know who those creatives are and then who those actors are, because they're sort of hitting some stride. And just even watching things like that, I do get to sort of relax, but also I get to feel like I'm staying in my career and not just completely tapping out. So what do you have? How did you manage in this momentum? And everyone knows this exhaustion of like, damn it, like I'm losing my momentum. How did you do that?
Well, I would like to start from college, like after graduating. There was just such like you're in class all day and then you have rehearsals and you're in like you're in it all the time. So after college, it was very like, what happens now?
Yes.
Like I had my degree in my hand. I'm just like, well, what do I do? So then there was just a good year of just nothing. And I lost it. I lost the passion for it. I lost the momentum that I thought I had, but obviously like I needed to change my values first. And I don't know, I was just in a really low point where I didn't really want to do this anymore. And I was like, am I meant to do this? And getting emotional. Yes, I am. And I didn't think like I was deserving of it, of anything. And
tell me what that's about. Like, I think a lot of people feel that way. So tell me what that's about.
I think it's when you're at just a really low point, when you stop having things come to you, that you have a choice to either stay stagnant or go get them yourself. For me, it was just a really low point where I couldn't say that, I deserve to be happy or deserve, just good juju coming my way. And, then there came a point when COVID hit, ironically, when everyone felt stagnant. I was like, you know what? I'm going to start doing things for myself that make me happy. And then that I booked a show, I got an agent, and I started like loving what I was doing again.
Absolutely.
And I think that point came from finding a group that was like, no, you're great. And I know, like, I don't know if it sounds sad or not, but like, you need people to tell you, no, you're good.
Well, that's our art form. Yeah. Again, we're not an isolating art form.
It's a community.
That's what we love about it. It's an ensemble based art form.
Yeah. And my low point was just, I hate like thinking about it because I can't believe I was there. It was just, I felt isolated and angry. I was so angry at like people that would book things and get new agents and be doing national tours. And I was just like, well, what the hell am I doing? I was just really hard on myself, really hard. And I think that's part of the process too. But you can either be a critic or a cheerleader. And at a point I was like, you know what? You're a good actor and you can do this. And I think just encouraging yourself and getting out of that hole is like the hardest thing. It's easier said than done.
I would love, if we can, to talk about the transition from the conservatory experience and into the real world. And one thing that I think people don't realize is a lot of people, and I had this exact experience, that you graduate from college and you had a BFA from Cal State Fullerton. So you were doing the 12-hour, 14-hour days of acting, just like I was in my school. And I know that this is how a lot of people really love the work feel. It's like, you know, for 4 years, I was acting 6 days a week, 12 to 14-hour days. And I was like in it. And and then they graduate and they just feel like, like they're suddenly in a desert island when they used to be in the tropics.
That's exactly what it feels.
Right. And then they just feel like they had their community and their friends, and like your community is handed to you.
Yeah.
And you have all these amazing people revealing their souls all the time in voice class and dance class, and everyone's hanging out, everyone's making out, everyone's just having like the best time together. And it is this like amazing communal ensemble. And I think the thing that people forget is, yes, you're doing that for 4 years, but you are actually paying someone else to let you do that.
Right.
And I always say, like, let me be clear. You can always pay someone else to let you do what you want to do for your time.
Right.
Unless you're really rich, that's not sustainable. A college experience is training. It is. But when you want to change the dynamic and now get paid to act and do what you want to do full time, you have now changed the agreement. And like you, when people are like, why did you start this podcast? I'm like, because I was angry about the fact that there wasn't communication and transparency between the levels.
Right.
Right. And I had so many years on and off of shame and frustration. And like you're saying, jealousy is so painful.
It was the worst. Like
it's so yucky.
I was just angry. And I was like, why am I so angry at these people who are doing acting, well, who are doing great? It's like, why am I mad at you?
And resentment, I had a teacher who says resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
I love that.
And so good, right?
Yeah.
And I really remember feeling that way. And now I understand just some like logistics that when you have a profession that nobody wants to do, the way that a company can get people to do it is by enticing them with perks and money. And it's like, please come do this job. Please work in the accounting department in the basement for this insurance company. Right. And it's like, well, not a ton of people are lining up to do that. So then they give you great benefits and then they pay you well. And then there's an increase of salary, and they'll even pay for you to go get more degrees, and they'll pay for you to have company retreats. Like they're like, please be our number person in the basement for this insurance company. Right.
Yeah.
But when you have a job that everybody wants to do, then these companies can make it hard for you and can take from you and can chip away at you.
Yeah.
And just the simple sort of, I guess it's the math of that.
Yeah.
That like, once I started to understand like, oh, right, I wasn't acting all the time because I was a professional actor.
Right.
I was acting all the time because luckily I had a scholarship, but like I had a scholarship set up to pay this institution $35,000 a year
Right.
to let me act all the time. If I can find another investor who's going to give me a consistent annual investment of $35,000 a year,
Financial aid,
financial aid for me to continue
Right.
to act all day,
Right.
that would just be magical.
Mhm.
But that is not the reality
I know.
in which I live in.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think this is a big thing. Like, you don't know the anger and the jealousy that's fuming inside you until later. And I saw that later when I started switching around my attitude and being happy for other people.
It's so important. And I'd love to talk about how you do it, because it's an indication to me, like when I start seeing other people's success and feeling like,
Yeah, I know.
you know, and there's a little that's natural, and every actor feels that way, and it's fine. And,
Yeah.
and the further along in this industry you go, the more nobody takes it personally, but it is like a flag to me that I have not been nurturing my inspiration. I haven't been nurturing my passion. I haven't been nurturing my artistic fire. And so then I have certain mechanisms, habits, go-tos so that I can sort of like turn the gas up in my flame. So what do you do? I mean, it sounds like self-tape May is one of these things. That was also true for me. The audition practice was a really big part of that.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you do for those listening to help you rekindle your fire? Because you see, I mean, well, part of why I love you so much is because you seem a lot like me in that you're just a bright light. Like, you burn bright and you bring joy and you bring fun to things. And that's like an important value to you.
Yeah.
So when that's then missing from you, you feel a loss. And I'm the same way.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
So I know how it feels to be 100% at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So my mission statement in life, I guess, is to show people the same happiness that, oh my God, I'm getting emotional, that I wish I had when I was going through that, because it was really hard. And I'm not saying I was alone. I have a great family that supports what I do. I have great friends that support what I do. It was just like getting in my head all the time. There's this voice in my head that was telling me I wasn't deserving, that I was garbage, that I wasn't a good actor, that I'll never make it, quote unquote, make it, because I believe everyone makes it in their own way. And I was measuring my success to someone else. I'm not on NCIS. Does that mean I'm garbage? And then on the other side of the coin, I think Self-Tape May really like turned around my attitude about it. And even like meeting Alfreds and Megan and Cody, like that was okay. Like, we would just do self-tapes just to do them. So I try to be the cheerleader for everyone else. And sometimes I need to step back and be it for myself. But I've definitely learned that this is a community. This is an ensemble. When I go to class and my friend's like, well, I booked a pilot. It's like, fuck yeah, you booked a pilot. Like, how cool is that?
But wait, Rosie, wait, you little winner. I have to interrupt you.
Help me. I need some help.
And now it's time for listener questions.
I'm so scared.
This listener question is brought to you by Castability.actor. That's Castability.actor/self-tape May. So what Castability does is they give you sides for free. And then if you want to use your self-tape May practice to enter in like a little Castability competition, you can do that. You do your tape and you submit it to Castability, and then a casting director watches your work, and then they rank the 5 people 1 through 5. And the person who gets the top score then goes to the next group, and another casting director watches that work, and then they rank you 1 through 5 until finally you make it all the way to the very last casting director who watches the final 5 tapes, and then they decide who the winner is, and then they post it, and then they're like, you're the champion of this particular scene. I think that is so awesome. And they are offering this crazy discount only $48 for as many of these tapes as you want to do, which is normally $262. So if you want to make Self-Tape May a little bit more, if you're like, I want to turn it into something that's a little bit more like get casting to see it, please take advantage of that. I think it's such a great concept. I'm so excited about their service. So castability.actor/self-tape May. And just to reiterate, the sides part, that's free. Submitting the tape in like a little casting director is going to watch your stuff competition. That's a thing that you pay additional for, but with an extreme discount if you want to participate this month. If you have a listener question, please call 667-ACTOR-70. That's 667-ACTOR-70.
Hi, my name is Memory, and I'm listening from Atlanta. My question has to do with Self-Tape May. The sides that we use from Castability, those have not aired. So are those ones that we should mute if we use those for Self-Tape May? Thank you. Bye.
Hi, Memory. Thanks so much. A, love your name. B, I want to clarify this. Yes. So they've not aired because they're not supposed to air. They're not stuff that has written for television or a movie. They are written as if television or movie. Castability actually has their own writer's room, and the writer's room creates sides for people to use in their competitions. Castability has asked and encouraged everyone using the Castability actor sides to please share them freely, full sound, post them, and tag Castability Actor on Instagram. They love you. They cannot wait to see what you do with the sides. Full sound, all around. You have their full permission.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Okay, so I'd love to talk about the things that have happened since Self-Tape May. We talked a lot about how it affected the attitude. I'd love to now talk about how it maybe actually affected your audition technique, your process, your confidence. Tell everyone all the great things that have happened.
Okay, so after Self-Tape May, I got new rep. I got new representation. I was able to use my materials from Self-Tape May.
Great. So tell everyone about that process. Did you take certain tapes and then give them to representation to view?
Yeah, I actually made a reel out of some of that footage, which helped me like tremendously because I didn't have any clips of me on set. I didn't have a lot of credits on like TV and film, but I did have a lot of theater stuff, which unfortunately didn't get recorded. And I was like, okay, I need footage. And it's like, oh, I have it on my phone. I have like 16 to choose from. And then I made like a comedy reel. I made a drama reel because luckily I had both.
Right.
So I just started submitting and I found new rep with Aqua,
Wonderful.
Talent Agency and MPM.
And how long did that process take from Self-Tape May to then putting those reels of your Self-Tape May tapes together and then sending them to representation and then getting with an agent? How long was that process?
Maybe about a month. Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. And since then you've booked.
I booked my first co-star.
And how long? That's amazing. And how long after getting the agent did you get your first co-star?
3 weeks.
I mean, Rosie.
That was insane. I could not believe it. They're like, you're on a veil. And I've never been on a veil before. So I screamed when I opened the email. I was like, Mom, I'm on a veil. And you know, she doesn't know what it means either.
She doesn't know what it means, right? Yeah.
Like,
I love that.
I'm on a veil. And she's like, okay. I'm like, they're thinking about me. And then
they're thinking about me. I love that.
I got so excited. I was like, okay, I'm probably going to get it. And if I don't, it's okay. It's okay.
Yes.
They saw me. They saw me.
And tell them what the show is.
I'm going to be on season 2, Dollface, which will be on Hulu starring Kat Dennings.
I love it.
She is so sweet. She's so nice.
I just love this. So I just want to recap. In a matter of a few months,
I know
you completed just you hadn't heard of Self-Tape May, but you had made a decision in the beginning of the year to like do things that you love. And your intention was to have joy and love for the work again. And so you picked tapes and scenes in advance. So you gave yourself a little schedule. So you made it a little easier on yourself. Then you had a support system of people who would cheerlead you on and also push you in a little competition if they've completed. And so you're going to complete. And then you finish. And then you win, you get drawn randomly to win Self-Tape May. Then a month after Self-Tape May, You put a compilation of your tapes together, then an agent signs you within a week. And then 3 weeks after that, you book your first television guest star in what I have to say is a really great role. It's going to be great footage for you. Opposite Kat Dennings in a major television show.
Even my agent was like, wow, that was fast. I was like, that was fast. And it felt so validating to tell my mom, I booked a co-star. I'm getting paid to be on Hulu. I'm going to be on Hulu.
Yes,
and
that's right.
It felt so freaking good. It just felt incredible to like even tell like the class that I'm in, guys, I booked a co-star, and they were encouraging too. And I felt like, wow, like this is what sharing a part of your soul feels like. And you know, after one, you want more.
Right.
Yeah. Once you pop, you can't stop.
That's right. Once you pop, you can't stop. That's hilarious. I love it. I adore it. And so to the actors who are thinking about self-tape May, who are listening to this, tell them what you think. Like tell them how you recommend them doing it, or if you recommend them doing it, or just give everybody a little info from you.
She's not paying me for this.
I do not.
She does not.
I don't get paid for Self-Tape May. Self-Tape May is free on purpose.
I really recommend it. Like, do it. I did short little scenes from The Simpsons. Like, you could do anything. There's no like boundaries to it, but I do recommend having a schedule. You don't have to set it in stone because I changed things around too. I had one tape that I was considering doing, and then Cody did the Treasure Planet one, and then I decided to do Treasure Planet 2. So I really recommend just like taking maybe like a day and a half and just be like, okay, May 1st, this one, May 2nd, this one, May 3rd or 4th, like this one. And you can set your own schedule. It's 16 self-tapes and they could be as long or short as you want. That's what really helped me too. I'd have to pick like a whole Shakespeare scene. And I really recommend it because it's really helped me. It's like tremendously, it's helped me with my confidence. It helped me get self-tapes done like quicker. It helps you stay organized. It helps you stay determined, and it keeps you in practice even when you're not working. That definitely helped.
Yeah.
And it was really helpful to be like, okay, I have an audition, quote unquote audition, and I need to prepare this. So it keeps you in practice, and it's so helpful. And I really, really recommend it. And I'm doing it next year. So watch out.
She's coming for you. Yeah. One of the things that I really love about what you just said is exactly that. It's like a thing that I really felt in my own experience when I made the transition from like being a person who waits tables to really being a working full-time actor is like, do I have the time, energy, and money for the kind of work that I want to book? And a lot of people have multiple jobs, or they have kids, or they have there's things are going on. Somebody in the family is sick, like things happen.
Right.
And exactly what you're saying. Do you know how to set up your lights fast? Are they set up immediately? Yeah. Do you know how to edit something fast? Do you know how to upload something to Dropbox or EcoCast or whatever are the number of things that they want you to do? Does your printer work in case they want you to print out a little sheet that has your name on it and the whole deal, right? Like all those things, just in being in practice of it and pretending that you have auditions also helped me with like anxiety around just like that thing of like, you've got an audition. And I would be like, oh God, I have an audition.
Every time prior to Self-Tape May, if I got an email saying you have an audition on like EcoCast, my heart would drop because I'd be like, oh no, oh no, oh no.
Life is happening and I have an audition.
Like everything's on fire. But like now it's like, I've even like leveled up my self-tape setup.
Yes.
Like I got one of those expandable backdrop and then having a ring light handy, like have it out. Cause I used to have it in a box, but it's just so much easier to just have it out. So whatever's helpful, pick your poison.
Yes.
I used to have my little like self-tape rack with like the sheet on it. But the sheet always got wrinkled. So, you level up because you want to make sure you're staying ready.
And you find out what works for you. And for somebody else, the expandable may not work as well as the sheet for them.
Absolutely.
And that's fine. But like, is it ready? Does your dog always bark? What are you going to do about that? Because you can't be turning in self-tapes with your dog suddenly being like, yep.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, while you're like crying about somebody dying in the hospital. Right. And so in your practice, you solve that. And then for me, it was like, in having these pretend auditions that I was giving myself and still do. By the way, everyone, I still do this. I don't go a week without doing an audition, whether I have one or not.
Right.
I'm always doing it. And I give myself the kind of auditions that I want to be working on. I still do this. And it's just so that way when something comes, I don't have that gut feeling of like, oh,
Panic.
I got this audition and how do I figure this out? And or it just feels like, right. This is normal. It's normalizing the whole thing.
Right. Oh my God. I can't stop like bragging about it, how much it helped me.
Love.
And help so many other people because again, it's a community and it's like, okay, we're just doing it just to do it. Like it's fun. You don't have to be in competition mode.
Tell everyone how they can find you. I want all of your Instagram accounts. Give them all.
Oh my God. Even the private ones?
You can leave your OnlyFans to you if you want. You can share it if you need to.
It's just on OnlyFans. It's just me with sock puppets. So. Okay. So on Instagram, you could find me under Rosie_Genevieve_. And then you can also find my small business. I'm on Etsy, Rose_Garden_Resin. So it's Rose Garden Resin. I range from like 3D printing, acrylic, jewelry, resin, just everything.
I love it.
Yeah. So even that's been a blessing too. It's just been a great outlet when you're feeling stagnant, make some art, do something that makes you happy.
Absolutely. I feel exactly the same way. Okay. My next question is, what is the best part about the business to you?
I think the community. I really think the community. I've never met so many nice people, so many people who are communicative and kind and lead with their hearts instead of a negative mindset.
Yeah, I love that. And what has been the hardest part about the business for you?
Comparing myself. I think that's a deep hole that anyone can get into.
Compare and despair. It's the saying.
And when I do that, I think about like, nope, I'm not going back there because that mindset brought me downhill. Life is just not an uphill journey. Like you're going to go down in some valleys and I think that's fine. But when I get in that mindset, I really don't want to go back there. So I try to fill that void with some outlets that would turn it around into a positive.
I love that.
Yeah.
But wait, Rosie, wait, you little winner. I have to interrupt you.
Help me. I need some help.
And now it's time for listener questions.
I'm so scared.
This listener question is brought to you by We Audition. That's weaudition.com, promo code SelfTapeMay. I use We Audition all the time. One of the things that people are always asking me about is coaching and being prepared for coaching. What I so highly recommend is before you go and meet with your coach, go onto We Audition and work the tape and record it with a couple of different readers beforehand. That way, it's already up, it's on your feet. You've already worked out some of the kinks. Maybe you get some ideas. Maybe you get some creative inspiration. And then you watch it and you're sort of like, oh, I see. This isn't as exciting as I want it to be, or this part looks a little not quite as effective as I want it to be. And then you fix it, and then you go on weaudition.com again, and you work it with another reader. And then by the time you meet with your coach, you are refining. You are filling in the most delicious little details. And then the meeting with your coach becomes like this really delicious, beautiful collaborative session of art and creativity. Also, weaudition.com, promo code SelfTapeMay. Find a reader for your self-tapes during the month of May. If you have a listener question, please call 667-ACTOR-70. That's 667-ACTOR-70.
Hi, Audrey. I am Jack. I live in Los Angeles. I am a proud union member. I have a question for you about castings requirements, about asking for your height. I am a very, very tall person, and I've been in the business for a long time, and height has always been an issue, a thing to talk about regarding with my reps and in casting, especially since I also have a baby face. And I would just love your thoughts on it. I sometimes feel like not telling them my height for fear that I won't get even looked at because I'm just very tall. So I'd love your thoughts on this and whether or not I should just context I got for it and say, hey, can casting stop doing that? Thank you so much. I absolutely adore you.
Jack, I adore you too. I'm familiar with this issue. I also am a fellow giant. I'm not male giant equivalent, but I am female giant. I went to an in-person callback with a casting director whom I know and love. Shout out to Arlene Schuster. And both Arlene and the other session, like a session checker-inner, I walked up to them and they both were like, oh, you're so tall. I was like, surprise. Still this tall, you guys. So I understand. Here's the thing. Height is a part of your casting. It really is. It can be a part of telling a story, especially who you're up against. You might be aware as a tall person of certain ways that being tall affects you and affects how people relate to you. So height it's a thing. It's a thing. I won't tell you to do this, but I won't tell you not to do this. Most actors lie. That's just a thing. Let me tell you about how casting knows that actors lie. Every short actor is going to come in there and say that they're taller. Every tall actor is going to come in there and say that they're shorter. So that's a thing. That's just a thing. Height does affect your casting. So I don't think it's a good idea for SAG to say, you can't ask height. You know, if you are going to be opposite a very short leading male actor whose name rhymes with Schmom Schmooze, you know, being really, 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 really tall is actually, it gets complicated for production. It gets complicated for the camera people and the technical side of things when they're putting you guys in a shot together. So there is usually a pretty solid reason why height is asked. That said, I get it. You know, when I showed up to film something not too long ago, my character, I would say she's an inward, small, maybe slightly more introverted, more beta character. And the director was quite surprised by how tall I am, and I didn't say my height in the tape. They didn't ask for it. And that's also been interesting. I feel like a new thing of like how you can tell like how cool a project is when they don't want to slate. They're like, no slates. I don't even want to know who you are. Just give me the work. But height is an important part of casting. I noticed in my co-stars, when I was doing co-stars in the day, I was always like behind a counter or a desk. And I was like, that's interesting. And then my husband straight up was like, right, well, they can see you. The camera can see you behind the desk. Like if somebody is like just the size of the counter, that's just not as good of a visual image as somebody who's above the counter, like 8 inches taller. It's just a better visual. So I get it. I don't know how tall your tall is, but I have friends who are 6'8". I have friends who are 6'4", 6'5". I mean, on camera, when you think of like Marvel superheroes, like a tall Marvel superhero, like I think Jason Momoa, where you're like, that guy's a giant. He's like 6'4". And I know that might sound giant to people. My dad was 6'6", so it's not giant to me. It's like normal. But in Hollywood, 6'4" is giant. So if you're taller than that, it's very big and it will affect your casting. And I recommend start considering the ways in which your height is your advantage. What are those roles? Especially if you have a baby face. I also suffer from extreme height plus baby face. I know of this pain of which you speak. With all of our physical features, whether that's having a baby face, whether that's being full figured, whether that's being really, really tiny and really petite, there are stereotypes that go along with all of those castings, and certain projects are going to lean into those stereotypes. But a lot of projects are really looking to break out of those stereotypes. And so just like being 6'4" maybe automatically puts you in some superhero category, absolutely it's true that you could be very, very tall and be a little self-conscious and have a baby face and be a little awkward and be a little like, oh, and that's interesting and exciting. And there is growth to be had in all of it. And you just have to sort of know what the market is currently doing with your look, and then also drive towards what the market could be doing with your look. And we will continue to build a narrative that breaks stereotypes. And I hope that for all of us.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
I have a new question, which is, what does success in this profession look like to you?
I want to do movies and TV shows and kicking ass and making people laugh and making people cry and making people feel things. And I want the next little chubby girl to be watching TV, be like, oh my God, she's so cool. And encourage that one to do what I'm doing.
Yeah,
that is the goal. And it's not about like the fancy houses or the cars, even though that is a nice perk. But like, what am I going to do with all that? And try to give that back to someone else.
I love that you brought this up, because one of the things I always like to talk about is as a curvy actress, and also as a actress who is a diverse and minority actress. I always ask people, do you have anything you want to say about that?
I think it has been challenging being a curvier actress, but I feel like Hollywood as a whole is slowly getting towards that momentum of having representation, because we need it. We need racial representation, which I think that's at the top of the list right now. After that, body inclusivity. I rarely see people like me on TV. And when I do, I pray that there's not a fat joke.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad I get to use this platform to talk about it, because every time have you seen Clue?
I have.
Okay. You know, like the plus size maid that gets killed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just praying like, oh, I love this movie so far. Please don't make fun of her weight. Please, God, don't make fun of her weight. And I mean, it's a small joke, but like, you know, every time I see it, it kind of irks me a little, because it's like, oh, and I know that movie is years ago, but I hope that my imprint on this industry and my legacy will not be filled with me making fun of myself. Like, I feel like that's the lowest. Like, okay, I'm fat. That's it. Like, woo, she has big hips. Hilarious. Yeah. And I feel like I want to surround myself with writers and collaboratives who agree that it should be more than just her weight. Like, I see myself, I don't know, adventuring out in a movie like Jumanji or something like Game of Thrones, but funnier.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Where I can be the knight and I can hold a sword and I can kick ass, and it doesn't, like, her size isn't a factor.
Mm-hmm.
And I slowly think we're getting into it. And I feel like myself and the people I surround myself with will be the catalyst to help me get where I want to go.
I love that. I mean, I am so hyper aware of it, even in my own stuff. Like when I look at old posts and stuff that I've done, and I'm like horrified by comments I've made about anyone who is plus size or curvy. And it's my own, because I used to be 200 pounds when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And it was my own feelings about my own self in that. Mm-hmm. And also because of an age gap between the two of us, I was raised at a time where on, television, when a lead character got pregnant, they handled it not by saying that character was pregnant, but that she was eating too much and sent her to fat camp.
Yeah.
I was raised on television that made jokes about Monica when she was fat.
Oh my God.
Right? Like all of those jokes, and just, becoming a lot more aware of that shaming and that attitude. And I do think what I'm excited by is things like, when I watch documentaries and they have like true crime documentaries, the detectives always look like you.
Yeah.
And they always have, like, the real life detectives look like you.
Yes, they do.
And then they always have these detectives on television that are in, no shame. It's just a more representation for all of it, but right now they're always, very petite women, size 0 to 2. And when I watch these real crime things, and then the woman who's breaking the case open is plus size, and she's 30s to 40s and 50s. And she's like, just awesome and smart and cool and solving cases. And I'm like, yes, where is she? I want her.
Yeah. I wish like maybe like 6-year-old me could see me now. And I wish that girl would go, oh my God, she's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so real. And that's how I present myself. Like, I want to wear clothes that fit me now. Like, when quarantine happened, I think everyone gained weight and including me. And it made me think like, well, again, I could spiral into a depression, or I can accept my body where it is. And I think I have more love for myself now, because I'm surrounding myself with people who tell me I'm beautiful and tell me that this is the body that got you through a pandemic. And you should love yourself. Like, look how gorgeous you are. When in my past, and I think it goes for a double-edged sword for women of all sizes and men of all sizes, that you're either told you're too skinny or too fat. And that's what kind of shied me away when I graduated college, where it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to play like a minor character that gets made fun of because she's fat. And it's like, I'm sure like for thinner women too, they get the same thing. Like, I remember my friend saying she hated playing an ingenue because she played the same thing all the time. I was like, I hate playing an old woman.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Yeah. And that I remember even when I started doing styling and realizing in the fashion industry and in a lot of different representation that, like, because I'm anywhere from like an 8 to a 12 and I'm 5'10",
right? And
realizing that there was a lot of fashion for plus size, and then there was fashion for 00. And I remember thinking like, well, where are all the size 8 models?
I know.
Like, where are they? I'm seeing really curvy, beautiful, bodacious bodies. And then I'm seeing, very thin bodies. And I was like, where is my size 10 ladies? Right. And just exactly what you're saying, that all of the spectrum, everything in between, being represented in a way that is the ingenue, is the detective, is the soldier, is the person with the sword, is the witch, like that. All bodies and shapes and sizes and ethnicities and ages is my new thing. Right. I'm like, why don't I see anyone on television like over 65 who's not dying of cancer?
I know.
There are so many smart, sexy, capable, sexual men and women over a certain age.
I absolutely
agree.
No
access to that, right?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Like, we need more diversity, like
all around,
all across the board. Like, I get so excited when I see a plus size character that is the love interest.
Yes.
Oh my God, I get so excited because it's like, I could do that. I could do that too. And
I know
it's slowly coming, but like those moments are rare, but I feel like it starts with us.
It does.
It starts really with how the attitude around like, well, I don't think I could play this, but I think this person can play it really, really well. Yeah. Like it's passing it forward.
That's so real. It's so much about who is controlling the narrative for so long. And exactly what you said.
Yeah.
More people are creating content that have more power, and more types of people are being the creators and getting their voices heard. And as people are excited to see themselves represented, which gets momentum, which gets interest, which gets them in the forefront. And so it is moving, not as fast ever as we want it to move, but I'm so glad that we could have a talk about that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Second to last question. What do you wish someone had taught you or managed to get you to understand when you were just graduating college and entering this business?
Oh, this is a good one. What would you say for yourself?
I think the thing that I always say that I wish I had understood was I needed to get good at auditioning. I didn't realize that what I would be doing for the majority of my life was auditioning, that you audition most of the time and some of the time is working.
Yeah.
And that even stars, even big stars, there is stuff that they get offered, but even them, the stuff that like they want to do, they have to audition. So they may get offered a guest star arc on Hawaii Five-0.
Right.
But if they want to be the lead in a new Aaron Sorkin miniseries on HBO, often and mostly they have to audition.
Right.
Emmy winners, Oscar winners. And so I just wish that somebody had told me, get good at auditioning, get good now. All the time you're spending in class is great, but if you can't translate that to an audition, all of the incredible work on stage, all the incredible work in class is going to still be hindered by the fact that in an audition experience, you can't compete.
That's really good. I think I would have told myself, you can be more than one thing.
Love.
You could be more than one thing. And also the same thing that you said, get good at auditioning.
Right.
Because I wish I could find my old self-tapes auditions because they're extremely cringy. And I'm just like, why did I do that?
We didn't know.
I know.
We just didn't know. We didn't know.
Like you said, you spend all your time on stage or in class. And most of those classes are voice and movement or acting.
Rehearsing plays.
Rehearsing. Yeah. You spend majority of your time in rehearsal. And most of it is not like the business. I think my last semester was the business on acting. And still I was like, wait, why didn't we learn this like a year ago?
We should learn this our sophomore year, not our senior year, as you're about to shove us into the cold dark. Yeah,
I know.
Exactly.
Yeah. I would just say like, you can be more than one thing and it's okay.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
What does success look like for you?
Oh, I love this question.
I like that question.
So right now, success for me looks like being on a show with a really incredible ensemble. And the ensemble includes the crew, the writers, the showrunners, all the actors. So this is a show that's well regarded and supported very much by the network and the money people, and where the other actors and the writers and everyone, they operate out of graciousness and generosity and respect for everyone's artistic process, and where the money is very good and a character who I just love her, somebody that I just want to like hold her
forever.
I just want to she just has a real special place in my heart and I'm very excited to meet her. But that to me is what right now success looks like.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
But wait, Rosie, wait, you little winner. I have to interrupt you.
Help me. I need some help.
And now it's time for listener questions.
I'm so scared.
This listener question is brought to you by Casting Networks. That's Casting Networks. You got to have Casting Networks. I'm giving you $50 off in partnership with Casting Networks for Self-Tape May. Go to castingnetworks.com/Audrey. Here's how it works. If you are a new member, $50 off for you. If you are a current monthly paying member, I'm told by people who've done it, email them, upgrade to the annual membership so you pay in one lump sum, $50 off to you. If you are already a premium annual membership person, no $50 for you. I'm sorry. But I'm so glad that you already have the premium membership of Casting Networks because it shows how incredibly professional you are and that you're on top of your stuff. So if you have a current monthly membership, just give them a little email. Just give them a little email and say, I'd like to upgrade to the annual membership and I would like to use the Audrey Helps Actors promo code, which is Audrey, promo code Audrey. Then please send me, I'm loving this. You guys are sending me pictures of you saving $50. And I want you to know it's like getting a bucket of kittens. It really gives me the warm and fuzzies. Castingnetworks.com/Audrey, promo code Audrey, $50 off your premium membership. If you have a listener question, please call 667-ACTOR-70. That's 667-ACTOR-70.
Hey, Audrey. I'm a longtime listener from Atlanta, Georgia. I just wanted to know if you could comment on what has been going on with one of our casting companies and I won't say which one. You can look up the Deadline article. Essentially, told people who were complaining that a lot of Atlanta roles only pay SAG scale plus 10%. That's $1,100. No matter how many credits you might have on your resume or how long that person has been in the market or even worked with that particular casting director, they really don't seem to be doing any better. And they weighed in on Twitter on somebody that was talking about that and basically said, well, hey, if you want to make more money, why don't you just open up a taping service? A lot of people took issue with that because we're artists. We don't get paid the usual hourly wage that a lot of other working people do. We get paid for doing classes. We get paid for the drive. We get paid to wait all year, maybe get a few working days a year. And that's how we understand that we're supposed to be paid. Now, when I listen to the podcast, it makes it sound like that you guys in LA have a little bit more of a career path. You are able to move up. And that's something that we're still kind of struggling with here is that, Atlanta is mostly a coastal market. Doesn't mean that people don't occasionally get guest stars or recurrings or even series regulars. But usually that's because they have representation outside of this market. And in addition to that, we only have a few casting directors. As you guys have dozens of casting directors, we have maybe 6 major ones, and most of the stuff is going to be this one casting company that is currently under fire. And they say they don't have favorites, but of course everyone believes they do because a lot of us don't see much from them throughout the year. So I don't know. That's kind of not really a question, but what I want to know is, do you have any comments on that? Have you read the article? Are you familiar with what's going on? And can you talk a little bit about finding that career path, advancing your career? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anonymous caller. Everyone strap in. Strap in for this discussion, this single-sided discussion I'm about to have. Okay. I have talked about this on the podcast many, many times about local hire and the reason people don't shoot in California. If a company is looking not to shoot in California, it is sometimes because they want a deal. They want to save money. And, I can't blame anyone for wanting to save money. I love saving money. It's in our human DNA, save money. And so production, they're trying to save money every way that they can. So what happens when you have a state that essentially offers itself as a sale value, you can get all these things, but on sale, then people will flock to that state because things are on sale. But then what you've done is you've set your negotiating price, you've set your bottom very, very low. And it's not in the interest of the company to pay more than that bottom negotiating deal unless they have to. And they mostly don't have to because there are other states that are not Georgia that are willing and ready to become the next Georgia. So that's where we get into what's called a right to work state. So those of you in Georgia are familiar with the fact that Georgia is a right to work state. Unfortunately, the saying about right to work states is right to work means right to work for less. That's just a very real reality. So I want to talk to you about what unions do in terms of setting up the bar. So unions set the bottom. They're like, this is the bottom. A lot of people are confused that unions fight for the top, but they actually don't. The union is you can't pay less than this. You can't treat them worse than this. This is what we've agreed upon as the standard. Now you can negotiate over, your representation can negotiate over the bottom, but this is the floor. The union sets the floor, so you can't go below the floor. Now, when a state is set up to undercut the union's power, it is 100% with the intention to lower the negotiating power of the worker. That's what it is designed to do. And one of my favorite sayings about SAG-AFTRA, the union isn't just here to protect you from the corporations. The union is actually here to protect you against yourself. And that is especially true because actors want to act. Actors are like, I'll cut off my arm, whatever you need. I just want to be in this thing. I just want to be a part of the game. But then in doing so, after you've cut up a couple of limbs and you've offered a lot of your blood, you're like, ouch, this is really expensive. And it turns out this is not sustainable. And the negotiating position isn't great because the options for a state that's made itself competitive by being on sale is either we stop putting ourselves on sale and we start asking that you pay us more. And then the risk, which is very real, is to have another state come in and say, I hear that Georgia's not offering themselves on sale anymore. I want to welcome you to blah, blah, blah state. We welcome and are excited to offer you the discount that Georgia is no longer offering you. So when people ask me about the growth potential in that market, I think the thing that is most concerning and most against you is not an individual casting director, is not these producers, is not these corporations. They are operating the way that, honestly, I believe SAG for 100+ years expects them to operate, which is in their own self-interest. And that means offering a rock bottom deal. And if you won't take it, they'll give it to somebody else. And that starts with it being a right to work state. So I don't know that the expectation that should or could, I mean, sure, should, love it, should change, can or will. I don't have a lot of structural confidence in the reality of that because the way that the state is designed to favor the corporation over the employee. If I booked a job in Los Angeles, that job is maybe going to shoot one episode and I'm going to be in 4 scenes and it's going to shoot over a month. In Los Angeles, through my representation, who are incredible, I get paid for a month of guest star work to be held, just to be available for that month. And if I want to work outside of that hold, then I have to ask permission to book a job and do a job that maybe doesn't conflict with what is possibly those hold dates. But I'm getting paid to be available for that month. So that means I'm doing 4 scenes. I am going to work 4 separate days, and I get paid the floor that the union has negotiated, which is the top of show guest star rate, the floor, which is about $10,000. And I will get that $10,000 over the multiple weeks that they are holding me for. So I will make 30, 40 grand off of that one job for that one episode. If I booked that same job in a local market, it would be a co-star. And the assumption is you will be available. Audrey, you will be available. And they will call you like the night before at 9 p.m. Hey, you're working tomorrow. And then I will get paid $1,100 to work each of those 4 scenes. And I have no idea when they're shooting. And it's just assumed I will be available. Now, from a producer standpoint, that's a hell of a deal. I just saved myself, $35,000 on an actor. So the reason to not do that, you have to ask yourself from a producer standpoint, why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I get that deal, get that sweet savings? That's what they're going to smaller markets for. And in order for you to be the kind of actor that will then get flown out to a local higher market, put up, given paid per diem, and asked to stay there for the entire month. So now we're talking not just that top of show money, but we're also talking per diem money. We're talking money for the hotel. We're talking all that money. They have to believe by resume, by relationships, by the footage that you've done, all of those things that you've created, that you're worth that extra $35,000+ which is it's a big ask. And that is really competitive, and that's really earned. So what does it take to be the person that's going to be that? And if you set yourself up as a local hire actor who is getting paid that bare scale, it is very challenging to convince other people that you are now worth $35,000 plus more dollars to work, because they've already gotten you at such a bargain deal for so long. So it's very challenging. And my heart really goes out to everyone who is struggling with the realities of working a local hire, which is that they would love couture designer product at Ross Dress for Less prices. And honestly, who wouldn't? So that's what you're up against. So I hope that's helpful.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Okay, last thing, mildly interesting. This can be something you like, something you want to recommend, something you heard, something you listened to, something you experienced. I will go first. Right now, we have somebody in my family is terminal, and I learned a term for something that I know about, but I just want to give this to people because it's interesting, that when somebody is terminal and is on their deathbed, something happens called terminal lucidity. And it's a phenomenon that occurs where, I'm going to read it so that everyone knows. The difficult time may be complicated by a phenomenon known as the surge before death, or terminal lucidity, which can happen days, hours, or even minutes before a person's passing, often occurring abruptly. This period of increased energy and alertness may give families and loved ones false hope that their loved one will recover. And I've had the life experience that I've watched many people pass, and I have experienced this phenomenon, and am always reminding people of it, because 3 days before someone's passing, they're like, they were up and walking around and being so great. And I'm like, oh, it means tick tock,
Wow.
And so I think it's just, I'm passionate, especially in this pandemic, and so many people are dealing with grief and terminal illness. And I really love grief literacy, and it's a natural part of it. So terminal lucidity, everyone, you've been educated a little bit more on grief.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. All right. You don't have to go nearly as dark. You can be your favorite potato chip. I love it. Whatever it is, mildly interesting. It could be something you learned, something you know, something you thought of. It could be something you ate, something you drank, something that anything.
Oh, well, since it's Halloween.
Yes.
I love Vincent Price so much. This is not like on the same vein as terminal lucidity.
No, I love it. Let's end on a Vincent Price note for sure.
He is my favorite. Like, I love him. I've read almost all of his books, with the exception of his cookbooks, because I don't have them in my possession yet. But he is one of my favorite actors. And also, he's a great example that I lead with, that he does multiple things. Mm-hmm. He did art, he did theater, he did film, he did everything, because it brought him joy. And to that, it meant so much to me that there was another person that was like, wow, they're doing everything that they want to do. And one of my favorite movies of his right now, because it's Halloween, House on Haunted Hill. If you haven't seen it, y'all, go see it. And one of my favorite quotes of his is, a man who limits his life limits himself.
I love that.
Yeah, I love him. He's so cool. He's one, him and Robin Williams are like the two people I wish I could meet.
Yeah.
And like just pick their brain for a little bit.
Yeah.
They're incredible.
Yeah. Well, I hope you don't get to meet them for a long time.
I know, a very long time.
A very long time.
I can enjoy their movies, but
yes, that's right. No knocking on anybody's door.
No.
Well, listen, I'm such a big fan of yours.
Same for you.
So yay. I love fanship. And I so value your willingness and eagerness to be transparent and to be your whole self. It's such a good lead by example. And I am excited for Self-Tape May. I can't wait for you to be show running one day in the very near future and have jewelry lines and clothing lines and home decor lines and
a Vincent Price collection.
And a Vincent Price collection of home decor. I love it.
Oh my God, don't tempt me. I'll do it. I'll draft it
she'll
now.
do it. She'll fucking do it. I'm ready. Okay. Well, I adore you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. I love you.
will talk to you soon. I love you too. Okay, good. All right, talk to you. Bye, honey.
You.
Next week on Audrey Helps Actors podcast, we've got Deshaun Terry, who is a series regular and fantastic actor on Apple TV Plus's The Morning Show. We have a wonderful conversation about all things being a series regular, prepping, surprises, contracts, everything that you need to know and ever wanted to know. A wonderful, brilliant discussion. Special thanks to Rosie. Rosie, girl, I love ya. You're amazing. Since recording this episode, I'm happy to report she also booked another job for HBO. Pew, pew, pew! Congratulations, Rosie. I'm so proud of you. This episode was mixed and mastered by Thomas Hank Snodgrass, produced and edited by Jesse Lumen, still so handsome, everyone. It's been a hard couple years, and I have to say, he's managed to get even handsomer. Show music by Ari De Niro and theme song by Alok Mehta and 108 Hill. All right, everyone, don't forget your towel.